As the New Year's clock turned to January, the Payday Gang's infamy was starting to reach far and wide. And with the fear set in the hearts of Washington DC's finest, the Payday Gang could tell something was brewing in the air. And with that, they needed some heavy-duty equipment. This is Gage Weapon Pack 2. Released January 30th, 2014, Gage Weapon Pack 2 brings us the usual Weapon Pack additions, but these are quite the step up. Not only do we get 3 new weapons, we also get an entirely new category of primary weapon, a set of 4 knives to replace our gun butt with, 4 masks with materials and patterns, achievements, and a foe that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most toughest of heisters. I'll be ranking each category out of 5 for a max of 25. So, let us find out. Is the second Gage weapon pack still worth it?
You call this resisting arrest? We call this a difficulty tweak.
Dropping alongside the DLC, the Cloaker is Payday 2's equivalent to Left 4 Dead's Hunter. Speedy little bastards that hide in the darkness and pin your allies to the ground. Despite their reputation, they honestly aren't that bad to deal with. Just keep your distance and try to hit for headshots, as they have a higher headshot multiplier than the average enemy. If you get downed, don't worry too much. Despite knocking you straight to the ground, it doesn't count towards your total downs. Although, be warned, if there's a piece of map geometry between you and the Cloaker, he'll try and dropkick you, which downs you, but also mean he isn't locked on. If you aren't careful, this could end in a potential heist fail. Their voice lines are also comedy gold, but you've probably heard them enough to know that. The Cloaker, despite his annoyance, gets a 5. Having an enemy that keeps you on your toes and tests your reflexes makes the game a little bit more enjoyable. Besides, aren't you glad they no longer travel in packs? Three primary weapons came with this pack, all belonging to the brand new LMG category. LMGs are like assault rifles, but with more damage, bigger mags, and less stability and accuracy. They actually used to be hot garbage until an update buffed every LMG's damage. Now they're one of the best weapon types. But enough talking. Let's get to the real stuff. The first LMG is the RPK, based on the gun of the same name. The smallest LMG in the pack, meaning it could be concealable with enough wriggle room. But being one of the 120 damage LMGs, it still holds up in builds not relying on being a sneaky little rogue. On top of high damage, it also has a pretty fast reload for an LMG at 4.6. Plus, being a member of the AK family gives it access to a lot of mods to improve its mediocre stats. Next is the KSP, based on the M249 Para. Less damage than the RPK, as well as a slower reload, but it makes it up with higher ammo, a fatter mag, and way better stability and accuracy. This is one of my personal favourites from the pack, along with the third and final MG. It can reach a pretty decent AAA stability and accuracy from modding and skills alone, which was the highest any LMG could reach, until the bloody Campbell released. Just gonna take a little detour, everyone. Welcome back to Gun Facts. Equipping the KSP with the long barrel and the solid stock attachments turned the M249 Para into the M249 E2 SAW. Replacing the long barrel with the railed foregrip instead makes it resemble the MK46 Mod 0. Finally, the last LMG, the Brenner 21, based on the Heckler & Koch HK21E. This has similar stats to the RPK, but it has a little more accuracy, a little more ammo, a little less rate of fire, and a lot longer of a reload. Does that mean it's bad? I wouldn't say so. It's clearly more suited to a hunker down and hold your position type of playstyle, rather than run and gun. Works really good with a bipod, but that didn't release until years later. I'll give the LMGs a 4. Terrible on launch, but with patches, these three still hold a firm place in heisters' arsenals. Four brand new knives, the first of their kind for any DLC. Melee had a rough beginning in Payday 2, mostly being a little thing you'd have just to spice up your loadout. But as time went on, they added skills, perk decks, and even new damage types to help them along. But for now, let's focus on what you get. Unlocked from lowest level to highest, we have the Ursa knife, based on the USMC fighting utility knife, known as the K-Bar. The Krieger blade, based on the Kampfmesser 2000. The Berger combat knife, based on the Gerber DMF modified clip point knife. And finally, the Trautmann knife, based on the knife used by the character Rambo. Stats don't really matter, they all have 30-80 damage and knockdown, a 2-second charge time, and roughly the same concealment and range. Although I'm confused on how the folding knife has the worst concealment out of every other knife. I'll give the knives a solid 2. Not the best things, but if you're only playing with Bloodthirst Aced and like traditional combat knives, I think there's no better choice. Four masks like always, so let's not beat around the bush and let's talk about them. Alpha Force, Commander Crime, the Gage Blade, and the Troubled War Veteran. All of these look pretty good, with the standout star being the Gage Blade, being one of the few masks post-launch that are flat and featureless, making it great for customization. On top of masks, you also get materials and patterns. The materials are gunmetal, splinter camo, mud, and jungle camo. Oh look, more camouflage. Surprisingly, gunmetal and mud look a lot better than the other two, but they could probably work somewhere else. The patterns are finger paint, fighter, sticks, and warrior. Not bad patterns, not the best, but pretty good. Here's a mask using all of the contents of this DLC. I'll give the customization a 4. Does it actually deserve a 4? Not really, however if you're looking for one of the best featureless masks in the game, the Gage Blade is what you're looking for. For once, all 10 achievements can be unlocked by everyone regardless of DLC, and aren't actually that challenging. They Drew First Blood, not me, requires 220 kills with an LMG on a single heist. Yes, it's another kill enemies achievement, but at least you're allowed to use whatever LMG you want during it. Killing's as easy as breathing, requires 10 LMG kills in a row without releasing the trigger. Bulletstormed Aced will be your friend here, as well as heists with massive enemy spawns like Brooklyn 1010 or Hoxton Breakout. Cloak and Dagger requires you to kill a cloaker with a knife. Just use Counter-Strike Aced, Bloodthirst, and Keno's Tanto. I Ain't Got Time to Bleed requires you to kill 15 FBI SWAT with a knife, whilst at 25% health or less, on Overkill difficulty or above. Frenzy and Berserker will get this done quickly, just be careful with your newfound lack of hit. Are You Kidding Me? Requires you to kill a Dozer with a knife. Either Infiltrator, Sociopath, or a fully charged hit with max Bloodthirst should make this easy. Holy shit! Just requires you to get knocked down by a cloaker. In Town, You're the Law, Out Here It's Me, requires you to kill a jump-kicking cloaker with a shotgun. I haven't gotten this one yet, it does take a bit of trial and effort to get though. The 8th and final rule requires 50 kills on law enforcers with your fists whilst playing the nightclub heist. Pretty easy stuff. Don't Push It requires you to kill a charging cloaker with a deagle. Bank Heist will make this fairly easy, as you can just bait him around the map. And finally, Dr. Miserable requires you to complete Big Oil Day 2 with the last engine being the correct one, on Overkill difficulty or above. This is time consuming, but thanks to many of the sites that automatically calculate the correct engine, it should just be a waiting game for you. Be warned, it takes like an hour. These achievements are honestly really easy and should be some of the most easy as it gets for players. I'll give them a 4, however, since these are no longer DLC restricted, I'll have to give them a 2. Five, 4, 2, 4, and 2, giving us a total of 17 points, our first B rank DLC, and the highest score so far. Gage Weapon Pack 2 still holds up, having one of the best masks in the game, plus a fun selection of weapons and nice looking melees too. However, there are better packs for both melee and LMGs. Next time we'll be covering a very important DLC with the Gage Mod Courier Pack. I hope to see you there. Take care, have a good day, and if this isn't the final video of the year, have a happy holiday and a happy new year.